Chapter 28. Parting.
Tranor was a planet filled with mystique. Majestic ape-like inhabitants were sharp-eyed and proud. Stone had remained the accepted building medium for thousands of sun revolutions. Currently, technology allowed laser precision fashioning without the loss of old worldliness. Tranorians were large and strong. They'd evolved that way. Steps and doorways were built accordingly. Streets were alive with happiness and at the same time calm. There was no need for haste. They took pride in their physical prowess and their technological achievements. Extrasensory perception and heightened mental ability had never shown up amongst them, so the Council had left them alone. The distance between Tranor and Delta 4b had been another contributing factor for minimal Council activity. As the four space travelers made their way across a busy intersection, the absence of deprogramming was apparent in their alertness. Their size and strength were disconcerting to most interplanetary visitors when first encountering them. These soon had their apprehension dispelled. Unassuming self-esteem and open appreciation of other races made like-minded associates pleased to interact with them. Zack had never been one to marvel at pretty sights or to display much interest in tradition, but even he was impressed by the architecture's magnitude.
The amount of stone is amazing. Where does it all come from?
Venrue was amused.
Stone has become valuable. It's recycled from demolished sites. Worn faces are recut and worked into new designs. Current architects combine past heritage with their own creativity.
When stone became scarce, a method was formulated to manufacture it synthetically,
added Nebulon. Venrue continued.
As traditional stone becomes scarcer, its value increases. Natural stone is afforded use only in the most elegant structures.
Affection for her childhood home was evident in informing her friends of its customs. For a brief moment, Zack was tempted not to accompany Zentran back to Delta 4b. The robust nature of Tranor appealed to him, but the challenge of the Council burned in him like never before. He and Venrue had lived together almost as man and wife. Only the formality of the ceremony remained. Their relationship had continued longer than he'd previously thought possible with one woman. Venrue had become a part of him, and the idea of returning to his former carefree existence had lost all the appeal it had once had. A reckoning with the Council was the deciding factor. The time had come for him and Zentran to make them accountable. He knew he'd miss Venrue, but there would be time for them in the future. Venrue held on to Zack for as long as her self-control would allow. She was strong, but tears still welled in her eyes and rolled down her cheeks without her permission. Even Zack had trouble. Seeing Venrue like this made it harder to leave than he'd imagined. He had to steel himself. It would not be like him to change his mind, and he didn't even know how to go about it. They withdrew awkwardly from each other's embrace, leaving Zack a great deal less confident in the correctness of his decision. Somehow, he managed to turn and alight the steps of the boarding platform. Venrue watched the cruiser door close. The star seemed a little brighter that night as Zentran set the sleek space cruiser to gravity equilibrium, allowing it to slowly lift off the ground. Nebulon, Venrue's family and many of her old friends were close by. They did their best to make light of the situation, but the empty feeling in her stomach persisted, reminding her that Zack was gone. She watched the silver disc grow smaller as it rose into the Trinorian night, till it looked just like another star amongst the patterns they formed in the sky. Zentran looked at his friend, who showed no outward signs of distress. He appeared unconcerned now. Only one with Zentran's insight could tell what Zack really felt. Zentran witnessed a caring side to Zack and smiled.
You're human at last.
Zack watched the night side of Tranor, with the sun behind it, through the viewing port. He felt things he'd never known before. They were a part of him now, and he wondered if they'd last. The anxiety he felt in his stomach, he could do without. Zentran set a course for the Delta solar system. As distance between Zack and Venrue increased, so it lessened between him and Fora. Patience had never been a virtue for either of the men, sharing their thoughts in the small spacecraft. As Nebulon's cruiser traded time for distance, finite speeds governed the journey's duration. It didn't suit an undetected return to exceed the Council's legal limit. Zentran fed the navigation system course coordinates of an allowable light speed jump. A flash of light through the viewing port confirmed its execution. Both men felt relaxed enough to sleep, although their beingnesses weren't present. One lay behind, while the other explored far ahead of the cruiser's trajectory. In her apartment, Fora also rested during downtime. She became aware of Zentran's presence, and their beingnesses merged. Zentran lifted her petite hand as if it were his own and caressed her body. He felt the softness of her skin through the touch of her hand, the warmth of her body, the firmness of her breasts, and every curve were his to explore. Fora felt her body tingle beneath the passion of Zentran's caress as he moved her hand. Once again, her moistness swelled. Time seemed to slow down as she succumbed to the physical nature of her body. Sensuousness engulfed her with a passion that continued to grow until her heart pounded beneath her quivering breasts. Perspiration appeared on her body. Even her neatly arranged fringe lay soaked on her forehead. With the rhythm of her heart came the gentle throb of her fulfillment, and she smiled. She was still smiling as the passion subsided to a relaxed tranquility when sleep claimed her. Zentran viewed her from above. How serene she looked. Perfection wasn't attainable in the material universe, but he'd just experienced something close to it on a higher plane. Returning to his body in the cruiser, hurtling through the enormity of space, the craft appeared as a fragile tin can. How odd the material universe seemed at that time. Zack stirred.
Been with Fora?
He inquired mentally. Zentran nodded.
You been with Venrue?
Yeah.
Tired and at ease with themselves and the universe, they too succumbed to the relaxation of sleep.